What's going on, everybody? This is Matt with Project Unbroken, going live again today because I had something pretty cool to talk about. And it's in reference to some of the things Greg and I talk about when we get into the importance of exercise for recovery. And I know that I am always quick to mention all the cognitive benefits of exercise, how it will make you or help you think clearer. It will, improve dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, all those feel-good hormones that we need to feel happy, to feel a sense of accomplishment, to feel like we're actually doing something. And I don't want the importance of exercise to be misconstrued as something that we do for let's say, any benefits that might be having to do with vanity, for instance. The reasons that Greg and I work out have very little to do with how we look aesthetically or to the outside world, but a lot of it is in an effort to accomplish almost a meditative state, I'll say. So what I mean by that is a lot of the workouts that Greg and I do while we're working out, these workouts require so much focus and attention that it is literally impossible for me to be concerned about things that might not be going great in my life. Now, I'm not doing this in an effort to escape any issues that I might have going on or things that I need to address, but it helps me clear my mind and turn my focus away from things that might spin out of control if I spend too much time thinking about them. And I am at a loss for where I heard the term. I think it might have been Tim Ferriss who mentioned that for him, or Aubrey Marcus, I'm not sure, one of those two guys. Either way, just side note, Tim Ferriss, Aubrey Marcus, two really great podcasts or resources that have helped me a lot. So anybody out there who's looking for some information about improving your lifestyle or improving yourself in general, those are two great places to check out. Podcasts, blogs, the whole nine. But either way, one of those guys, and it might have been in a podcast where they were together, mentioned the benefit of sometimes having to get out of your mind and into your body. So an issue that I dealt with that I brought up in the past before, and a big reason that I abused heroin and pretty much every other substance out there, was in an effort to get out of my own head. I remember finding it exhausting to be stuck with my thoughts, and almost to a point where I couldn't control the momentum of my thoughts or the direction that they were headed in. And Greg and I talk a lot about how that can really turn into a negative trait if you're not aware of how to kind of control your thoughts, because thoughts lead to habits, or lead to actions, lead to habits, and it can be a really negative spiral if you can't control that initial thought. But anyways, I heard this concept, and there was actually a time in my life where I was really, really struggling, and I couldn't control this negative spiral of how bad my thoughts were kind of just getting worse and worse and worse, and it was essentially leading me into an anxiety attack or a panic attack. What's up, William? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the love. And in this particular instance, I took this concept of getting out of my mind by getting into my body, and I ran with it. So it was actually pretty dramatic. But I was kind of bugging out about whatever was going on in my life. I remember there were, it was court dates were starting to pile up on me. I was not in a massive amount of debt, but I was in enough debt and I wasn't making enough money where essentially I couldn't pay any of my bills. And it was just, it was court payments, it was bills, it was car payments, and all this stuff was piling up. And there was no solution in my mind. And I was essentially, again, driving myself into a panic attack. I started feeling like heart palpitations, and I couldn't get control of it at all. So I remembered this concept of out of my mind into my body, and I went down the basement and I just started doing burpees, which, for those of you who don't know, is essentially like you're laying down on the ground doing a push-up and jumping up in the air. And it doesn't take many of them before you start to become seriously exhausted, which is still the case today. I'm in a lot better shape, but it has not changed. And I went down and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do 10 burpees and see if it works. And I got to 10 and my heart was beating and I could feel my blood coursing through my veins. And I was like, let's see if I can do another 10. And I did another 10. And I did another 10. And I did another 10. And it took me a while. And by the time I got through about 50 of them, I was struggling. I mean, back at this point in time, I was smoking cigarettes. I had no aerobic capacity at all. And I'm like fighting to do more and more and more because I started to stop. I stopped thinking, and I wasn't worried about what was driving me into a panic attack. And I did 10 and 10 and 10 until I did 100, and I was just crumpled up on the floor like a hot mess. And when I finally came to, I know that doesn't sound very appealing to anybody, but it is what it is. When I came to a couple minutes later and kind of caught my breath and settled back down, I had this sense of awareness, or this clearness, this clarity of thought, and I was able to think about the issues that I, literally 10 minutes ago I was having heart palpitations over and shortness of breath, and I thought I was having a heart attack. I knew that it was a panic attack, so I didn't bug out too bad. But everything settled down. My heart rate came back down to baseline. I was able to think about the issues that I had to deal with. And in my head, I kind of structured a plan together, and it was all fine. It was all good. And I understood after these 100 burpees, after getting out of my mind and into my body and just kind of like pushing myself to this limit that I wasn't really sure if I was capable of, when that was all said and done, just this like serenity set in, this calmness set in. And I don't know if it was the endorphins or the dopamine or whatever it was from me pushing myself to this level that I've never really pushed myself to before. Everything just settled down. And it was, honestly, it was addicting. And that was one of the first times I ever pushed myself to this limit. And it literally, it happened because I had nowhere else to turn. And I couldn't just push myself into another anxiety attack. I knew that using was no longer an option. And this was all that I was left with. And it served its purpose. And even to this day, my problems aren't what they used to be anymore, thank God. And it took a long time for me to figure out everything I needed to figure out. But I still turn to exercise and pushing myself to this limit on a regular basis, of where it clears my whole head out and I can get finished, and I end up laid out on the floor every single day, but I just have this, again, this sense of clarity is the best way that I can describe it. So anything that I was kind of dealing with or trying to figure out or struggling about or becoming anxious over, all seems to work itself out somehow in that point A to point B in that workout. So again, when you guys hear us talking about the importance of exercise and why we do it, it's not just to get yoked, get big. That has little to nothing to do with it at all. That's not our motivation at all. It's so we can think clearer. It's so we can make better decisions. It's in an effort for us to be better as human beings. And I know now that I own a gym and I train a lot of people, that's the reason they come in every day. They come in, they're like, man, I don't know what it is, but when I'm done, I feel like everything is more simple than when it was before I started. So if you guys find yourself in a situation that you're struggling with, whether you're trying to find an answer to something or you just have something driving you into that anxiety feeling place, whatever you want to call it, stop what you're doing. Just do as many burpees as you can. Push yourself until you can't breathe anymore. Like, get yourself to that point where you're really, really uncomfortable. And somewhere in there, you will find a sense of clarity. It's going to be when you start to get your breath back. But I'm telling you, 100 burpees will, I don't care if it takes you an hour and a half. When you're done, you will have the answer to your problem, or at least, you'll have a much better sense of how to address it. So don't look for the easy way out. Don't hide under the covers when you're freaking out. It just gets worse under there. And I'm sure you guys already know this. We want to seek cover. We want to seek comfort. But our answers rarely lie there. That's not where the relief is. The relief is on the other side of essentially something you're afraid to do. So even if it's not 100 burpees, get out of your comfort zone. Reset the whole wiring system in your head. And you're going to find that you're better off on the other side. Yeah, it's good for you. It's healthy, and it's important for you to exercise. But that's not what we're looking for right now. Right now, it's all about clearing this up. So, again, if you run into that feeling of fear, of anxiety, try to look somewhere different for relief. And it's not going to be something that you're used to, and you might think that I'm full of shit. But I implore you to try it out and try something different. And come out on the other side and let me know what you think. It's worked wonders for myself. It's worked wonders for Greg. And we truly see the benefit in this kind of stuff. So anyways, that's my spiel for today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in, for commenting, for liking our videos, for subscribing. We really appreciate it. Our channel's growing. And the more you guys communicate with us about things that you want help with or things that you want to hear our experiences about, I cut out there. But anyways, keep the questions coming. It helps us. It helps us help you. William, you're very welcome. Thank you for tuning in, man. It means the world to us. I'm signing off here. I got to go pick the little one up, but thank you again for everything, guys. All your input means the world to us. So we look forward to hearing from you and to giving you more to help you guys out. So thanks again, and I look forward to talking to you soon. See ya.